So, sure, it's the end of the day, and how has the day been for you guys? Has it been inspiring? I sat here and I listened to Uyanda. I didn't hear Carol. I didn't hear the other lady in the morning, but wow, I was moved. And I was moved because I think one of the most important things about us as women, particularly as Black women, is that two things matter. You know, the higher you go in life and the more you succeed, and I felt it again as I listened to Uyanda speak, it's that we don't realize that everybody goes through problems. Everybody goes through adversity. Everybody goes through difficulty. When you see Uyanda out there, you see Carol, you see Ipeleng, you see Khanyi, you think, wow, these people are amazing and nothing goes wrong, until they're here to tell you that that's not the truth. And so authenticity and vulnerability matter, ladies. Those things matter. They really, really do matter. So my name is Ipeleng Mkhari. Obviously, I know that you guys have spent the whole day here. Some of you whom I met earlier actually said, wow, thank you. We're here just to listen to what you've got to say. And thank you for staying this long. It's been a long day, but I want to share a lot of who I am and where I've been so that we can talk about these things, not my face, so that we can talk about the things that have been in the background here. And you know, there are three key things that we're talking about, right? So we are young women. So we're talking about young women. We're talking about entrepreneurship. And that's really important because that's what I'm really going to share. And we're talking about the idea of mentorship. That's one of the things that I was asked to talk about. And I'll get there. I really will get there. But I want to start somewhere else. I want to start really in the beginning because a lot of you don't realize that, you know, 20 years ago, a 23-year-old young woman, that was Ipeleng Moloto at the time, came to Johannesburg, really having finished a degree with nothing just but a degree. And I came with thoughts and dreams and a vision of my life, but I never ever believed that I was going to go on a journey of a couple of things. One, a journey of self-discovery, a journey of growth, learning and reward. And I think one of the things that people don't realize and get is just that word. It is a journey. Success does not come overnight. So ladies, as I stand here today, this year we'll be celebrating 20 years in business. I can't even believe that I started at the age of when some of you, I think some of you actually look 20. Most of you look 20 in this room. It's unbelievable for me to think that 20 years ago I actually started a business, but that's exactly what happened. And I think it's even more important for me to tell you that it is possible for you to do the same. Because we're here talking about entrepreneurship, it is really, really important for you to understand and realize that this is not something that requires degrees, double degrees, triple degrees. This is something that requires heart, it requires a lot of dedication, and it requires a bit of a plan. And let me tell you about a little bit of my story. So I was a graduate, I had a vision, but my vision wasn't to be self-employed. That was not my vision. My vision was to be employed, actually. And I started off looking out for jobs. Funny enough, some of you listened to this young woman who spoke about her life and what she did. At some point, my cousin actually referred me to Avon, and I started going and talking and thinking, I'm going to sell Avon. And I really did that. And my boyfriend at the time was now my husband, thought I was a bit crazy. But it was because I was desperate. I needed to do something. I needed to make money. I started off with nothing, absolutely nothing but a vision to be employed. And I was later self-employed. I had two things on my side. I had a burning desire to succeed. And the most important thing, ladies, I had 110% self-belief. And I still do. I still do. And my topic about mentorship and confidence, you will see how it links together. There is no human being that's going to succeed in this world, in my book, if you don't have confidence. You've got to know who you are. You've got to have a stride. You've got to have a voice. And if you have those things, you've really got to use them. So 3 key messages, please, that I want you to take away today as I talk about my story. First of all, Mentorship is not a thing where you go to someone and you say, oh, please won't you mentor me, and suddenly you become mentored and then successful. Mentorship is daily affirmation. Mentorship is affirmation. Affirmation is about how you talk to people, how you are spoken to. It's about how you feel treated and how you treat others. Affirmation is about what your parents do when they raise you and remind you, child, you are beautiful, you're amazing. Do you know how amazing you are when you sang in front of the church yesterday? I was raised by parents who affirmed me every day. So I'm a young girl from Mlazi, eldest of 3 girls, raised by really, really strong parents, really strong, and I'm talking about strong in mind and soul. And the one thing that I take away from my upbringing, and I hope any one of you who are parents or aunts today, it's that word affirmation. You don't just need a mentor in your life. You need to be reminded every day, and you need to remind others about how brilliant they are. But you mostly need to remind yourself about that. Mentorship doesn't also come from other people who are outside of your life, who are seemingly amazing and brilliant and successful. Parents, family, friends, the church, people in your society and your community can very easily affirm you. If you are a believer in self, and I think you need to listen very carefully to this. If you are a believer in self, the power of your own self-belief is about the power of your subconscious. The power of your subconscious is not about what you say, it's about what you think every day about yourself. So when you look in that mirror and you get up and you say, today I'm going to have an amazing day, that is the power of subconscious. And when you step out into that world and you speak positivity and you speak honestly, but you speak positively to others and about yourself, you don't start telling the world about, oh, how what a terrible day it is and how it's already started badly because I stubbed my toe or I didn't get my makeup right or I almost had an accident. Speaking positively and speaking with positive thoughts, thinking with positive thoughts and allowing those positive thoughts to go through your mouth, that is the power of subconscious. That is affirmation, and that is self-mentorship. Now, that doesn't suggest that we don't need others to remind us. The second thing that I want a key message that I want you to take away, ladies, growth is collaboration. Growth is about collaboration. We don't succeed on our own. Success is not about a journey that is taken on your own by yourself. We've heard so many people today, and you've heard so many people today tell you about their stories. Because we know that growth is collaboration, you need to identify people around you that you're going to collaborate with. You need to be able to understand who those people are, and in your journey of life, as you walk along that journey, be lifted, but lift others up, because power and growth is about collaboration. The third comment, and I want to make, and probably the most important, confidence is not something that happens through mentorship. And I know that we all believe that if you're mentored by people or coached, and maybe you're going to somehow get divine intervention from someone else. I am here to tell you that I don't believe that. Maybe that's true for others. Maybe someone else can take you through a journey through their life, listen to you, and then suddenly you become confident. What you will be is affirmed. Mentorship will affirm your journey. It will affirm your dreams because they are valid. Confidence is something else altogether. It's not a God-given thing, by the way, either. Confidence can be nurtured. Confidence can be nurtured. There are people that we see in our lives and we think, yo, that woman is confident, that man is confident. They walked through that room with such a stride and with such power. There are different types of confidence, but you know what is the center of confidence? It's self-love. It's self-love. So confidence is not about noise levels or how loud I am. It's not about how powerful I may seem. Confidence is about self-love and self-knowledge. It's about self-assurance. And mentorship will not give you confidence. Mentorship will affirm who you are. It'll affirm your belief. It'll affirm your vision. It'll affirm your dreams. But self-love, self-belief, trust in self, identity. That's what confidence is about. Confidence is about your journey. And because we know that confidence is not a God-given talent and it's nurtured, it's possible to be raised as an introvert and become a super powerful, confident human being. It is exceptionally possible. So if you're sitting here today thinking, I'm none of those things, fear not, ladies. Because the glory of God and the glory of success and power and confidence is here for you. It is not about what you believe that you are today, where you're saying, I'm this introvert. So my conversation today, ladies, will try and center on five really important subjects for me. I'm a mother of girls, and so I can't tell you how it's really, really so important for me to be able to share my life with other women. Because one of the things that I find to be really, really important is, as women, we draw from one another's stories. We draw from one another's courage. So as a mother of 3 girls, and as the eldest of 3 girls, I might have been raised by women, but I may not have the courage to be able to share my story. So sharing my story allows me to be able to raise my 3 girls better. Courage, confidence, agency, purposeful living, and vulnerability. And I'm going to stick within my time. I'm going to try. I really am. These 5 subjects are really important because much as we talk about mentorship and confidence, you can't talk about mentorship and confidence without, certainly for me, without me sharing what I want to share with you. The courage to be bold and deliberate and ambitious. So, ladies, some of you may not know my story, and the only way that I'm going to be able to share my courageous life or the courage that I've been able to go through is share my story. When I started as a 23-year-old, I started in a business where I was employed to be a marketing director. Within 6 months of my employment, not so far from the Midrand area that we're in now, up the road in Allendale, I worked tirelessly for 6 months trying to run around and selling what is called CCTV, closed-circuit television systems, to various clients. 6 months into my journey, I realized that, oh my goodness, I'm a front. And I don't know how many of you work on your own as entrepreneurs. Can I see how many entrepreneurs we have here today? So if you're a black woman entrepreneur today, 20 years ago when I was 23, someone telling you that you could be a marketing director and run a business and earn a salary, I earned 5,000 Rand a month. It was a lot of money, believe me. Someone telling you that you can do that was everything. It was the world to me. And I felt very much affirmed by that opportunity. But what I didn't know and what I didn't ask was, actually, if I'm a marketing director and I have my name at the bottom of this letterhead, I see there are 2 other directors. Bagupi, who are they? Where are they? How come I'm going to offices and talking to people, but it's me on my own? I didn't ask that question for 6 months. 6 months into it, I walk into a particular interview. We're supposed to be interviewed by the Mpumalanga Gaming Board to get a license to install cameras in casinos, right? And as I walk out of that office, I meet, for the first time in 6 months, my 2 co-directors. The one is dressed in a outfit, yaba auntie, a lady who's a domestic worker. And the other one is a gardener, and he's standing there in his gardening uniform. And the penny drops for the first time. Ipeleng, you're a 23-year-old black woman. BE is the new thing. It's the new thing in town. You are a front. Know it right now. And I had to make a very quick decision on the spur of the moment to say, what do I do about this? I had to have the courage to face this particular issue very boldly. And the first thing that I did was I did nothing. I went home. Got home and I started writing my business plan. And that was the beginning of Motseng Investment Holdings, the company that is 20-year-old today. And the reason I had courage is because I knew that I was never, ever going to allow my name to be abused by any individual, black, white, colored, Indian, purple, it didn't matter. My name and my integrity meant that much to me. But that was my first moment of adversity, ladies. I had been selling myself to other people and to other businesses as though we were actually a 100% black-owned business. And I knew we were not. I knew we were employed, but I thought that as directors, we actually were all on the same field. We were all on the same level. 6 months later, I went to my employer. I asked for a meeting, and I politely requested them to deregister themselves as owners of the business, Posailiso. And that was because I wanted to register the first black woman-owned CCTV business. And that's what I did. It did not come without challenge. And I think the lesson in courage, ladies, is to tell you that you need to be courageous. Adversity will be the propeller of all of your success. You have all gone through adverse situations. At the end of that year, I believed I actually had no future. I was so scared to ask those white people that I worked for to deregister themselves. In January of 1997, sitting at home, I receive a gift, and that envelope inside of it is a share certificate that has got Ipeleng Moloto as the sole proprietor of Posailiso CCTV, and that was now the business that I had taken over. But a journey had to be taken for me to actually build that business. Courage is really, really important, ladies. And in times, adversity will be the only thing that you need to show you that you have courage. At the beginning of that same year in 1996, the other major moment of adversity that I'd had was to lose my mother. And so I think when a lot of people meet me and they say, Ipeleng, we are amazed at what you've achieved and I want to become a woman like you, and I say to them, you've not walked in my shoes. You've not walked the road that I have walked of adversity and pain. And if you're prepared to walk a road of pain, walk on thorns, and if you are courageous enough, then you will succeed. The second issue, ladies, that I said to you is about confidence. You've got to have the audacity to be confident. I think you saw someone before you right now called Uyandambuli who had the audacity to be confident. And I underline the audacity. You know, I've been in business for a long time. I employ a lot of young people in 3 different countries. And the one thing that I see about South African black people specifically, we are not confident. We are a beaten people. We are so scared of our own ability and our own ability to be successful that we cower into a corner, believing that that is okay because it makes the next person comfortable. And that, ladies, is the first step to nowhere. When a woman walks into my office or a young man walks into my office looking for a job and I'm interviewing them and that person opens their mouth and they know who they are, they can identify themselves and they can speak with their voice. You know, there are people who have a voice but they can't speak. When you can speak with your voice, not necessarily with a decibel, but when you can speak with your voice and with confidence, that's when you shake people inside. And that's when it doesn't matter how many degrees you have, and it doesn't matter how long you've worked for. But if you have self-confidence and you have self-assurance and identity, you will speak to someone like me. That's one thing I can tell you for sure. And so the challenge that we have, ladies, and when people say to you, you've got to have the audacity to be confident, what I'm saying to you is that you need to understand who you are. First and foremost, you need to understand what you're about. You need to be able to have self-esteem and get your self-esteem. I was an introvert as a young child, and I like to tell this story. As the eldest of 3 girls, I was always the child who had to be called by the parents. Again, bizu Ipeleng azobulisa abantu bakhona bazo, come, mbizena azobulisa abavakashi. Call Ipeleng to come and greet the visitors. My 2 younger sisters were exceptionally confident, exceptionally bubbly, and they could do that. I found it very hard to talk to people. I found it even hard to stand in front of people. But confidence and having the audacity to be confident is not something that is God-given. It is not. So to those young women and men today sitting here who are shy, who are scared to talk in front of people, can I tell you something? That can change. To those who are confident and who have no fear and who know how to communicate, who know how to tell their story, keep doing that. We are happy for you. But I, as Ipeleng Mkhari, want to tell you that I was not that confident person. That had to be nurtured within me. I only started to see my own light and my own power when I was in standard 7. My apologies, grade 9. So essentially, I had to go through a moment of another adversity. My parents divorced in that year. And that was the year that I went to boarding school. I think my parents' divorce and them sending me to boarding school allowed me to discover who Ipeleng truly was. Up until then, up until grade 9, I was somebody else's child. In grade 9 to grade 10, 11, and 12, I had to find out who I was. I had to go through the pain of knowing I've lost a family, I've lost my parents, they've now gone and split between them, and now I had to come out and say, okay, so who are you? It was the most transformative journey that I went through. I did everything at school. I did debating. I stood up in front of people and I spoke. I found my voice. I found my voice, and I have never looked back, ladies. And so what I really want to say to you, secondly, is underline the audacity to be confident. It is so important. Confidence will take you around the world. It will take you into areas you've never even thought you'd go into business opportunities that you couldn't believe, and you don't even know how you're going to get through it, but you will get through it. Agency, the attitude of being a change agent. So, ladies, the one thing that I think we all have to acknowledge is that we are privileged. As you sit in this room, dare you tell me that you're not a privileged South African woman or man? And can I tell you why you're privileged? Because you have opportunity. It stares you in the face every day. If you have a job, if you have the ability to pay to be here today, if you have the ability to dress and look the way that you look, then I'm telling you now, you are privileged. Acknowledge it. And then the second thing I want to say to you is, what are you going to do about it? Because privilege comes with responsibility. Responsibility means that you have agency. Agency means that when someone says to you, Tuma mina, you say, I'm there. I am there to be tumat. Romana, because I will go. I have lived 20 years running my business. And for the first 10 years, it was about a 30-year-old young woman believing that, oh my, wow, I'm so amazing, I'm so brilliant, I can do amazing things. The last 10 years have been about the realization of something. I have agency. I have the ability to impact other people's lives. But it's not because of money. It's not because of power. It's because of opportunity. Opportunity should not allow individuals like you to not use their agency. And I think it is a very, very powerful thing. Agency is something that is linked to your understanding that privilege comes with responsibility. Agency is when you arrive at that place where you're able to change people's lives. Agency is about what we're doing today. Agency is about this Youth Entrepreneurship Women's Summit. That is agency. So ladies, it is absolutely critical to live in the realm of not just your own self-success. It's about being able to understand how you impact other people's lives. And so the last thing that I will share with you that I think is absolutely critical, that I would tell every single one of my mentees, and it's something that you may not pick up in your life yet, because as I look in this room of beautiful women, I do see that a lot of you are quite young. But you will discover it as you grow older, that purposeful living is the only living that you want to live. As you build your careers and as you build your lives, as you marry, as I saw the young man saying, who are the single women, as you marry and you have children, as you extend your careers and as you extend your success beyond the borders of South Africa, what I would like you to understand, and Oprah Winfrey talks about it so beautifully, she talks about your authenticity and your truth. When you live your truth, you live purposefully. When you don't live your truth, you're just living on the surface of life. And that is a boring life. A life that does not have purpose, ladies, is really a life that does not have direction. Choose, understand your purpose. If you understand self, if you trust yourself enough, You will know what your purposeful living is. And guess what? You will become super successful through it and in it. And that is something that I didn't know. No mentor, no mother, no father told me that when I was 23. Nobody said to me, Ipeleng, think about what you do and who you do it with and how you do it. Think about how you make others feel. Because in the journey of living purposefully and living your truth, you will succeed. You will succeed and make money. You will succeed and strengthen everything around you. You will be able to employ others. You will be able to share your dream and your vision, and they will come on the road with you. Please, ladies and gentlemen, purposeful living is really when you move into a chapter in your life where you're able to understand your journey and your purpose on this earth. Let me share what I believe my journey is, and I'm beginning to understand it more and more. So I turned 40 a couple of years ago, and you know, turning 40, for those of you who are going to turn it someday in a decade or so, what happens is that you suddenly get connected to yourself. You suddenly start to look at yourself and you think, hey man, I love this person. Damn, I love you. You're all right. You're beautiful. Do you know that? And you begin to embrace everything about you. You embrace the body, you embrace the mind, you embrace your soul, you embrace even those who say to you, I don't love you. You say, it's okay, good righty. I embrace you. And the thing about it is that you become vulnerable. You know, when I hugged Uyanda, I said, thank you for your authenticity and your vulnerability. Because as a human being, you begin to operate and succeed at another level when you're vulnerable. Because when you're vulnerable, you're able to say, my sister, you know what? You're amazing. Do you know your power? When you're vulnerable, you're able to transfer love truthfully, authentically to another soul. You're able to uplift them knowing that you are being uplifted at that moment. When you're vulnerable, you're not seeing someone else as a competitor or as somebody that you can't recognize and share love with and share hope with and uplift. When you're vulnerable, it's because you're so comfortable with self that nobody can do anything or say anything about you that will bring you down. And even when they do, you look at them and you smile and it's like water off your back. That's what happened to me when I turned 40. It was a time in my life when I was going through so much struggle in my business. When I can tell you today, we were going through so much strife. We were going through hardship. And one of the businesses that I bought was losing money. We had suddenly bought it, it was making money, and then suddenly we lost so much money. And I couldn't understand what was going wrong. I had been a leader of this business for so long. What happened all of a sudden? Why me? And the questions started flooding me. And one day I was vulnerable with my team and I sat in a room, in a boardroom, and I said to them, you know what, guys? I don't have the answers anymore. I don't know. I'm your leader. I'm your CEO, but I don't know what the answer is. And I know we've got problems. We've got to fix them. But I need you. I need you to know that I don't have the answer. And maybe the answer will be found here amongst us. People cried. I cried. People broke down because sometimes we place so much pressure on ourselves to find those answers. Mommy, I want the answer. Older sister, I want the answer. Father, husband, wife, give me the answer. Leader, my CEO, solve it, resolve it. What if they can't? What if they can't? And what if they can't tell you that they can't? Do you know what's happening inside of them? They're dying. They're dying. And they're thinking, you know what? This person will think I'm lesser than if I tell them that I can't. And it was that moment when I was vulnerable, when I could tell my staff, I don't have the answer, that they rose up to the challenge. And the answer came out from amongst us. So, ladies, I can tell you that, you know, until you get to a point of vulnerability and self-knowledge and self-love and understanding, some of the answers and the problems you have in your life will not be clear. The answers will not be there because you're too scared to tell a non-client, girl, I've got a problem. Girl, I don't have money. Girl, I'm now, this month, Gobi. Help me. Girl, I'm with this guy, but something's going wrong and I don't know what to do. When we're too scared to open up our hearts and be vulnerable, because we are human beings after all, that is when we put the pressure on ourselves. The journey will be longer to find the answer. You will find it, but it will be longer. It'll take you longer. And I'm seeing a lot of people who are nodding their heads. Business is no different, ladies. Entrepreneurship is no different. Just because I sit at the top of a pile of my organization's ecosystem does not mean that I'm the person who has all the answers. It doesn't mean I'm the smartest and the best. And the moment you get that in your lives, whatever you're doing, if you're going to be successful entrepreneurs, I can tell you now, there are a couple of things you need to have. You need to have courage to face the adversity. You need to have courage to face the adversity that will transform your life. Because in darkness, I tell you, you will see a lot of light. Secondly, you need to have the audacity to be confident human beings. And confidence does not mean taking over. It means self-confidence, self-esteem, self-love, 110% self-belief. But in all of that, you need to have agency. You need to uplift others. You need to change other people's lives in order for your life to be impacted and to change. Otherwise, it will not. And you need to live purposefully. And lastly, you will be vulnerable. If you go through all of those things, and I can assure you, you will be the most successful entrepreneurs, the most successful corporate players. As I close, I want to remind you, ladies, that, success in leadership, and we heard it last night, we heard it. I cried in my house as I listened to President Ramaphosa speak, and not because it was him speaking, but because what he had to say had so much value. What he had to say was this: leadership and success in life confers obligations on us for us to do things that are really impactful. And what Mr. Ramaphosa was saying to a country of 55 million people is, stand up where you are because you are a leader. Stand up where you are and do what is right. And that is the most important thing. And it doesn't matter where you are. Leadership confers obligations and not privileges on those who wield power. And that's a quote by O.R. Tambo. Ladies, I really hope that you really have taken a lot from today. Just because I'm the last speaker, I haven't had an opportunity to hear everyone speak. But I know, and I want to thank Nonhlanhla for inviting me, that every person who's gotten up here, there has been a common thread in what they've said. Take it away with you. Take it away with you. Internalize it. Believe it. Because I've walked 20 years of doing this. My story should be a story that you should learn from. Thank you.